You pay a water heating bill every single month of your life, and you have never once questioned whether that was necessary. Every morning, you twist a knob, wait for the pipes to respond, and hand money to an energy company for the privilege of warmth that the sun was already offering you for free. Now imagine a man with no house, no plumbing, no utility account, and exactly $1 who figured out what you never did. He coiled a cheap black garden hose on a patch of concrete, connected it to a spigot, and walked away. 2 hours later, he had hot water. Not lukewarm, not tepid, hot, the kind that steams, the kind that your water heater produces after burning through energy you paid for, and his cost him nothing. Not then, not ever again. The sun was the utility company. And the sun doesn't send a bill. His name in this story is Marcus. And if you'd walked past him on the corner of MLK Boulevard in Phoenix on a Tuesday afternoon in August, you wouldn't have looked twice. You might have seen a worn sleeping bag rolled tight against a chain-link fence. You might have noticed a blue tarp strung between two poles at a low, practical angle, catching shade the way someone who really understands heat learns to think about shade. What you almost certainly would have missed, coiled neatly on the black asphalt like a sleeping snake absorbing everything the desert had to offer, was about 150 feet of standard black garden hose. One end connected to an outdoor spigot on the side of a nearby laundromat. The other end fitted with a cheap spray nozzle from a dollar store. In between, coiled flat, pressed against dark asphalt, absorbing every photon of light the Arizona sun could throw at it from 8 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. Marcus wasn't an engineer. He hadn't read a physics textbook in 20 years. If ever, he hadn't attended a seminar on renewable energy or watched a documentary about off-grid living. But he'd noticed something one summer that most homeowners, most plumbers, and most utility companies hope you never take seriously. Black absorbs heat. Water sits inside the hose. The sun does the rest. That's it. That's the whole equation. Nothing patented, nothing proprietary, nothing subscribed to. And the water that came out of that nozzle on a 100-degree afternoon. Doctors at the Arizona Burn Center have measured hose water temperatures in direct sunlight reaching close to 190 degrees Fahrenheit. Steam producing, scalding possible. Shower perfect when you let a little flow first to release the hottest layer. Marcus wasn't struggling to find warm water. Marcus had engineered a functional solar water heating system out of a garden hose. And the entire plumbing and utility industry had somehow, for decades, never bothered to tell you this was possible. So the question that should be sitting in your chest right now is this: why didn't you know? Why, in all the years you've owned a home, paid a utility bill, and grumbled about rising energy costs, did nobody, not a plumber, not a contractor, not a home inspector, not a single energy company representative, sit you down and explain that the sun heats water inside a black hose to temperatures that rival your water heater, using zero electricity, zero gas, and zero monthly billing? Before we go any further, drop a comment right now. Tell me, what's your monthly water heating bill? Because I want you to have that exact number sitting in front of you when you finish watching this. What you're about to discover will change how you see every energy bill you've ever paid and every single one you're about to pay for the rest of your life. Now, here's what modern water heating actually looks like when you strip away the convenience and really examine the machinery. You have a tank, probably 40 or 50 gallons, sitting in a utility closet or garage somewhere in your home, doing absolutely nothing useful for most of the day except slowly bleeding energy just to maintain its own temperature. It's called standby heat loss, and it is exactly as wasteful as it sounds. Your water heater heats the tank. The tank slowly cools down. The heater fires back up, heats it again. The tank cools again. The heater fires again. That cycle runs every single hour of every single day, whether you shower once or 10 times, whether you're home or away on vacation, whether it's July or January. The U.S. Department of Energy has consistently noted that water heating accounts for roughly 15 to 20% of a typical household's total energy use. Think about that for a moment. one appliance, one function, nearly a fifth of your entire bill. And the efficiency of most residential tank water heaters sits somewhere between 60 and 80%, meaning for every dollar you spend heating water, somewhere between 20 and 40 cents evaporates into the walls of a tank sitting in a room you rarely enter. The modern version of this solution involves a complicated tank, thermostats, heating elements or gas burners, pressure valves, sacrificial anode rods that corrode and need replacing every few years, sediment that accumulates at the bottom and reduces efficiency over time, and a monthly bill that compounds each year alongside rising energy rates. More parts, more failure points, more cost, more dependency, more invoices, more technicians, more replacements. Marcus's version involves a hose, sunlight, and patience. Here's where it gets important. And here's where this stops being a story about one man on a Phoenix sidewalk and starts being a story about all of us. The system the energy industry would prefer you never think too hard about isn't new. It isn't fringe. It isn't some survival trick recently invented on the internet. Solar water heating is one of the oldest domestic technologies on the planet. The ancient Romans used dark stone channels to preheat bathwater before it entered their bath complexes. In the late 1800s, before natural gas infrastructure had reached most American homes, solar water heaters were commercially sold and widely adopted across California and Florida. A man named Clarence Kemp patented the Climax solar water heater in 1891. A simple black tank exposed to direct sunlight, nothing more complicated than that, and sold thousands of units to households that had no interest in waiting for a gas company to extend its pipeline to their neighborhood. By the early 1900s, solar heaters were so embedded in everyday life that a 1941 survey found more than half of Miami's homes still running on them. Then came cheap natural gas. Then came the post-war utility expansion that wired neighborhoods from coast to coast. Then came the infrastructure that meant every home was connected to a system that billed you monthly. And the solar heaters that had been working perfectly well for 50 years quietly disappeared from hardware catalogs, from contractor recommendations, and from the cultural memory of what a home was supposed to contain. Not because they stopped working, not because they were inefficient, not because the sun became less powerful, but because there was no recurring revenue model in a technology that ran on sunlight, which sends no invoice and employs no meter reader. The timeline doesn't lie. Solar domestic water heating was mainstream, affordable, and proven for decades. It was abandoned at precisely the moment utility companies needed to justify the massive infrastructure investment they had just made and needed residential customers locked into monthly billing cycles to pay for it. Now, let's talk about the physics, because this is where Marcus's dollar store hose stops being an interesting anecdote and starts being something that should genuinely rearrange how you think about energy, about cost, and about what knowledge you were never given access to. Black surfaces are what physicists call near-perfect absorbers. While a white or silver reflective surface bounces a large portion of incoming solar radiation back into the atmosphere unused, a black surface converts roughly 90% of that radiation directly into thermal energy, heat. The black polymer that makes up a standard garden hose isn't just dark for aesthetics or accident. It is, functionally, a solar collector. Every photon of light that strikes that hose surface gets converted into warmth that conducts through the hose wall and directly into the water sitting inside. Think of it like a room packed with tiny radiators, each one activating the instant sunlight touches it, all of them firing simultaneously along every inch of that coiled surface. Now, here's the part that scales with length. Water moves slowly through a coiled hose. Or, in Marcus's case, it doesn't move at all until he opens the nozzle. Stagnant water has unlimited time to absorb heat from the walls surrounding it. The longer the hose, the more wall surface there is. The more wall surface, the more heat transfer. It compounds. Researchers at Texas A&M documented temperatures of 120 degrees Fahrenheit inside both black and green garden hoses after just 2 hours of sun exposure at ambient temperatures of only 89 to 94 degrees. That's not extraordinary desert heat. That's a mild spring afternoon in Texas. The Arizona Burn Center's Dr. Kevin Foster went further, documenting stagnant hose temperatures reaching close to 190 degrees Fahrenheit in direct summer sun. Third-degree burn territory, inside a garden hose that you can buy at a dollar store. A standard 100-foot garden hose holds approximately 3 gallons of water. That's enough for a careful, efficient outdoor shower. 150 feet gets you closer to 4.5 gallons, more than enough for a full wash. And if you're not Marcus, if you're someone who simply wants to reduce your water heating bill or build a reliable off-grid backup system, a 200-foot coil of black irrigation drip hose can be purchased at any hardware store for under $30 and will deliver shower-ready hot water every clear day from roughly March through October across most of the continental United States without burning a single unit of electricity or producing a single dollar of utility company revenue. A study from the Federal University of Technology in Nigeria tested a coiled black hosepipe solar heater using 45 meters of standard black hose arranged in a flat spiral. They measured 51% thermal efficiency, heating 100 liters of water from 28 degrees Celsius to 47 degrees Celsius using nothing but sunlight and time. For reference, a comfortable shower runs at around 38 to 41 degrees Celsius. Their system didn't just work. It overshot the target comfortably with a hose. This isn't experimental. This isn't theoretical. This is physics confirmed by researchers across multiple countries, documented by emergency room doctors, treating accidental burns from hoses left in summer sun, and replicated by thousands of independent builders who constructed their own systems and posted the results for anyone willing to look. The only reason it still feels surprising to you right now is that you were never taught it, and you were never taught it because the people who profit from your monthly bill have no incentive to make the alternative visible. If you're finding this valuable, hit that like button right now. Because what comes next is the part the industry really didn't want to be easy to find. Why did we abandon solar water heating? The answer involves 3 forces that appear together almost every time a genuinely useful, low-cost technology quietly disappears from mainstream practice. Speed first. A solar hose system heats water in 2 to 4 hours of good sun. For the industrial economy expanding rapidly in the mid-20th century, that constraint was commercially unacceptable. Factories needed hot water on demand at any hour. Apartment buildings needed centralized systems. Restaurants, laundries, and hospitals needed hot water at scale and on a fixed schedule, regardless of cloud cover. A coil of hose on a rooftop could not promise 120-degree water at 6 in the morning in November. A gas-fired tank could. Speed won, and the rest of us inherited the bill. Cost was second. Installing a solar system in the early 20th century required a knowledgeable builder, a site-specific design, and a roof orientation that not every home could provide. A gas water heater, by contrast, could be mass-produced, shipped on a pallet, and installed by any licensed plumber in under 3 hours. The upfront cost looked lower, even though the lifetime cost, paid out monthly for decades, was dramatically, substantially higher. The industry was structured to sell the installation, not the efficiency. The business model rewarded dependency, not independence. And third, the infrastructure lock-in. Once cities were wired for gas and electric, once utility companies had signed residential rate agreements and embedded themselves into the building code requirements of new construction, the cultural argument for solar faded from view. Why build a hose system when gas was cheap and the pipe was already running to your house? The answer: that the pipe would never stop billing you, that gas prices would rise with every geopolitical crisis and every corporate earnings call, that energy infrastructure would become a permanent dependency woven into your monthly budget for the rest of your life. Wasn't printed on anyone's brochure. The hidden cost arrives slowly and then all at once. Millions of households locked into utility systems they cannot practically exit, bills that only move in one direction, water heaters that fail after 8 to 12 years and cost several hundred to several $1,000s to replace, and a technology that worked, that cost nothing to operate, that ran on a star 93 million miles away, that has been reliably showing up every morning for 4.5 billion years, sitting in quiet obscurity, rediscovered mainly by campers, homesteaders, off-grid builders, and men like Marcus, who had the clarity that comes from having nothing done automatically for him. So here's what you actually do with all of this. 3 options, ordered from the easiest to the most involved. The first option requires nothing more than what Marcus used. If you have access to any outdoor spigot, a garden tap, a laundry connection, a community faucet, you can run this experiment today. Buy the cheapest black garden hose available. Dollar stores carry them. Thrift stores almost always have one hanging on a peg. Even new, a basic 50-foot black hose costs $1 to $3 at discount retailers. Coil it flat on the darkest surface available to you. Asphalt, a black rubber mat, a south-facing concrete slab. Connect one end to your water source. Cap or pinch the other end closed. Leave it in full, unshaded sun for 2 to 3 hours. Then, and this step matters, run the first several seconds of water out onto the ground before using it, because the water sitting at the very end of the hose closest to the nozzle will be the hottest and needs to be purged first. Test the temperature with your wrist before directing it anywhere near skin. What flows after that initial flush will move from warm to genuinely, usably hot within moments. A camping shower nozzle threaded onto the end makes it immediately functional as a real shower. The second option is a proper build. Take 200 feet of black half-inch irrigation drip hose, available at any hardware store for under $30. Coil it into a tight, flat spiral on a piece of plywood covered in black roofing felt or painted flat black to maximize heat reflection up into the coil. Anchor the coil with cable ties or roofing staples so it doesn't shift. Prop the whole board at a 30 to 45 degree angle facing south to maximize sun exposure across the full day. Run the input end from your cold water supply through a simple ball valve, which gives you precise flow control. Run the output end to a shower head, a utility sink, or a holding tank. A rooftop installation provides the best solar exposure and keeps the system out of the way. In a sunny climate, this setup will produce hot water reliably for 8 to 10 months of the year. The complete build, all hardware included, costs under $50. It has no moving parts that wear out, no heating elements to replace, no anode rod to sacrifice, no thermostat to calibrate, and no monthly operating cost. Not next month, not next year, not ever. The third option is the minimum, something you can act on today with zero construction and zero spending. If you already have a garden hose, even a green one or a gray one, lay it out coiled in a sunny spot on any warm afternoon and come back 2 hours later. Test the water temperature before you touch it directly. You will be genuinely surprised. The water will be warmer than you thought possible, and almost certainly warm enough that you'll find yourself standing there wondering how you didn't already know this. That moment of surprise is the beginning of understanding something the utility industry has kept invisible in plain sight for the better part of 70 years. Marcus didn't hold a degree. He didn't have a mortgage, a plumber on speed dial, or a utility account in his name. He didn't have the security that usually comes with not having to pay attention. What he had was attention itself. The pure, unfiltered kind that comes from having nothing automated, nothing managed for you, nothing abstracted away behind a monthly bill and a customer service number. He noticed that the hose was hot to the touch. He noticed that the water inside was hotter still. He noticed that the sun arrived every morning without asking anything in return. And from those 3 observations, all of them basic physics that any curious person could verify, he built himself something that millions of homeowners with modern appliances, licensed contractors, and energy-efficient certifications on their walls have never managed to build. A system that answered to no one, billed by no one, and failed no one. The knowledge wasn't lost. It was sold away. The solar heater warming Miami bathrooms in 1920 still works. The physics behind it still works. The sun that powered it then is still rising every morning over your roof, still heating every dark surface it finds, still offering the same transaction it always has: warmth, freely given, no account required. The only thing that changed was who convinced you that warmth needed to be purchased, and how completely, how thoroughly, how profitably they made sure you never stopped to ask why. If this video shifted something in how you see your utility bill, subscribe right now. We are digging up the energy knowledge, the building knowledge, the food knowledge, and the survival knowledge that the modern industry buried the moment it found a way to charge you for the alternative. Every week, we go further back to find what actually worked, and further behind the curtain to understand exactly why it was taken from you.